Hi guys,
Hi guys,
I am here with
I'm on
my
YouTube.
number one fan in YouTube, and apparently we're being babies today and talking on a pacifier that's
Hi
supposed to be for our
guys,
baby sister.
I do you eat.
So I am currently 37 weeks. At the end of this week on Saturday, I'll start my week number 38. So in this, I'm full time already, and anytime now this baby could come out. So I thought, why not do something that I've never done before, and that's tell my birth story for my kids. I have this is gonna be my third one, and I hope it's a different experience than the past before, because I think that this time around I will be more, I guess, prepared and experienced than all those times. Hopefully, and crossing fingers, I will get the experience that I want. If not, it doesn't matter as long as this baby's out and healthy. So I thought I would tell you the birth story. I'll do a little two sequence little thing of labor and delivery, and this is part one of it. So thank you for watching, and I'll start with the birth story for my first son. His name is Alexander Velasquez, and he is a healthy 4-year-old kid. He was born on May 26, 2012. He was born 6 pounds, 3 ounces. He was born when I was 37 weeks, and I had no idea I was going to have him on that day. Um, See, it was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I had no idea I was going to have my baby. I was 18 years old, and I really expected to have my baby on my due date. And I didn't know how that process was going to start. I mean, of course, I saw videos in YouTube, and mind you, this was 2012. YouTube was nothing like it is today. And so I was at home, I was by myself. I remember I used to sell Avon, and I was finishing up classes for high school because I was graduating that year. It was actually about a few weeks before my graduation day. I would say 2 weeks before my graduation day that I had my son. And so I was at home, I was doing some things because I was selling Avon, I was making shirts, and I had this urge of my phone, yes, thank you, of cleaning my house, really. And that was a big thing for me back then, 18 years old. So I started cleaning my entire house, like super cleaning my entire house. Like I felt just lightweighted all of a sudden, and like, cause days before I had like a pressure up here, and if you're pregnant, you know what that means. And I mean, if you're pregnant and you're like about 30 weeks or more, you know what that means. All of a sudden, you feel this tightness up here, and you feel like you can't catch your breath. And every time you're talking, you're like, you know. And so I had that feeling all week long before that, and all of a sudden that day, I just felt lighted and like I was myself again. And so that feeling started early in the morning, and so I started to clean and clean and clean. Took everything out of my closet. We were living on a small apartment, so getting the nursery ready was a must have for me. And we were gonna have the nursery like co-sleeping with the baby, so the baby's crib was gonna be in my room, and I got to do all that. And I was like throwing water on the floor and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, I felt this gush of pee coming out of myself. It literally felt like when you feel like you're going to go to the bathroom. When you feel like you're gonna go to the bathroom, but you can't really go to the bathroom, and you're like, or you're like holding it really tight, and there's only like this little bit, like how could I explain it? Like when you're in the hospital and they ask you to pee on a cup and you don't really want to pee, and you're like forcing yourself to pee, and you feel that gush of pee pee coming down. I'm sorry if this is too much information. Slightly and little by little. And it's just like crazy. I was like, what the heck? Like, am I peeing on myself? So I go to the toilet and I sat on the toilet and I emptied my bladder. And I stood there or I sat there for like what felt to me like 15-20 minutes in the toilet. And then, because I couldn't stop peeing. And then I got up and I kept doing my thing and I was doing decorating my Avon shirt and cleaning. And all of a sudden, I feel pee again. And that happened 3 times. I had to change my clothes and everything. So this little lady right here was like, why do I keep peeing myself? But this was not weird in me. Believe it or not, it's embarrassing to say. I cannot believe I'm saying this on YouTube. But most pregnant women would pee on themselves because the bladder is so full. And a kick from your baby's going sideways could make you pee. And it had actually happened twice before. So I was like, yes, Papa. So I was like, I took Bounty and I rolled it up and I put it sort of like a pat. But Papa. And I just put it there and I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna pee, I might as well pee on that, and I'm not changing my clothes like that. And let's see what the hell's going on. Yes. Yes. At this point, I had no pain whatsoever. It was just that gush of liquid coming out of my body, which I had no idea, but I had broken my water at home. At 37 weeks pregnant. I go home. I mean, I am at home. I have the Bounty situation going on. And I cannot believe I used Bounty, like seriously. And then all of a sudden, my mother calls me. And she's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, why are you asking? My mom always does that. Like, whenever there's something wrong going on, she's the first one to call me. I don't know how she does it. Like, seriously. And so I say, well, okay, there's nothing wrong with me. She's like, are you sure? I feel like there's something wrong with you, and I keep thinking about you. And just let me know if you're going into labor or anything like that. I'm like, Mom, I'm not going into labor. I'm going to be totally fine. I hang up the phone, but I start thinking because of what my mother tells me, and obviously she has to know more than me. And I go to YouTube and I start researching idiot me, broken water on the couch, and I start searching on YouTube what are labor signs for when you're going into labor. I felt like I was not going into labor. I felt like I had not broken my water. I truly felt like I had to pee. So the next step, since I'm not convinced, is I call my friend who had gone into labor about 3 weeks before me, and I ask her, like, what happened when you went into labor? How was it? Because I really want to know. She said, well, you're not really into labor until you see blood coming out. I was like, what? Maybe that was her experience, but it was really the best advice that she could have ever given me. She had a weird labor. She was out of the state, and she didn't know. It was her first baby. She didn't know she was going into labor, and so she called an ambulance when she saw blood, like the mucus plug with blood coming out. I had let go of my mucus plug about 3 days before I broke my water. But there was no blood on it. And so I call her and she tells me, don't go to the hospital until you see blood out of it. Somehow I was not convinced by her either, but I stay at home. Give or take 15 minutes later, I start having this pain. The way it happened was I got up from my chair and I stopped watching YouTube and I decided that I was going to do something else. So I decided that I'm going to start folding my clothes. And I'm going to take my clothes and I take my bag of clothes and I put it on my couch because I had done laundry and I needed to fold it. And so I put it on my couch and I sat on my couch. Go to the bathroom. Ve, corriendo para el baño. Ve a hacer pipi. And I put it on my couch. And when I go and I sit down on the couch, I'm just going to go on my computer while I help my daughter in the bathroom. And when I go and I sit on my couch, I felt like something cracked in my back. Like, seriously. I did feel like that. Like, something cracked in my back. And it was like a sharp pain on my back. And so I was like, Holy Mother of God, I broke my back, you know? And so I stay on the couch sitting down, and I kind of hold my back like that, and I actually felt something crack. So I take a deep breath, and I was like, okay. Then I got up, and nothing else hurt. So I go, and about 2 minutes later, I am like, ah! And that was what it felt like a menstrual cramp coming out of my ovaries, my lower abdomen, and it felt really painful, but not like I was gonna die painful. That happened around 6:30. I don't know. This was 5:30. So I started having this labor pain, but it was more like a cramping, like when you have your period. And so they were kind of coming and going. It was about 5:30 when I started to hurt. And then see, I just waited and waited and waited until my mother calls again, and my mom is like, "Are you okay?" And then all of a sudden, I have like a really pain contraction, which I didn't know I was having a contraction. I just had like a really pain where I felt like I couldn't. I really wanted to make my mother feel like I was okay and I was not in pain, and I couldn't talk to her through my contraction. So it is true when they tell you, you're not having a real labor contraction until you can talk through it. So that's how I felt. And I actually, what my body wanted to do was kind of drop itself down on the floor and hold it in. And I had that contraction, and my mom is talking to me, and she's like, "Whoa, you're not okay. You sound like you're in pain." I tell her what happened with the pee, and she's like, "I think you broke your water. You need to go to the hospital." So she calls my other friend, and she said, "Could you meet up Rosemary in the house so that she's not alone until I can get to the house and we can take her to the hospital?" So my friend, she was at the party, and she left the party. That was really nice of her. And she got on a taxi, and she came to my house. That took about 10 minutes. In a period of 10 minutes, I felt like that thing was going like more and more and more stronger. Like I was having contraction every 3 minutes already. In a period of an hour, I went from having regular menstrual cramps that really hurt to being in very, very much pain where I was having a contraction every 3 minutes and I couldn't speak anything. So when my friend tells me, "I'm outside your house, we're waiting for your mother to take you to the hospital," I say, "No, we're not." I say, "We're taking that very same taxi. Don't leave the taxi, girl. And we're gonna take that taxi and we're gonna go to the hospital." And we went to the nearest hospital because I actually felt like I was gonna pop my baby out in the taxi. I was not planning on delivering on that hospital, but that's the hospital we went to. We went to Patty's Hills Medical Center in North Bergen, New Jersey. Overall, it was a great experience. I would say that labor and delivery part was not the best experience, but the afterwards it was. So I got on the taxi. It was funny. I didn't even pay the taxi driver. The taxi driver was nice enough to help me get out of the taxi and get me to. Mind you, I was 18 years old. My friend was 17 years old. We were both two crazy little, you know, girls that didn't know what to do. And we get to the hospital, we get to the emergency room, they wheel me in a wheelchair, and I'm like, "Okay, bye." I didn't pay the taxi driver. He was so nice. He actually came back later and asked for me and brought me some juice and things like that so that I could use for when I was, after I had the baby. Uh, and he didn't charge me. So I go to the hospital, and they upset me in. I'm having this much pain, and they tell me, "You have to sit down and fill out some paperwork." I was like, "Are you kidding me?" So at that time, I was sitting down, I was like lounging over, and I was like, I could barely talk, and she kept asking me all these insurance questions before she admitted me in. That was crazy. Um, they put me on this bed, they hooked me up to a bunch of monitors and tell me, "Well, you're having contractions. They are every 5 minutes apart. Um, and every 2 minutes, every 3 to 5 minutes, they were not constant, like every 3 minutes. there would be one contraction would be every 3 minutes, the other one would be every 5 minutes, and so on and so forth. Then all of a sudden, she's like, well, you broke your water, so we're gonna admit you into labor and delivery. That was a nice room. It was a big labor and delivery room. I had my mom finally in there. My friend went home. I called my husband. He came. And he's like freaking out. He kept it together though. I truly thought he was gonna faint, but he kept it together. He was very supportive with me. My mom was freaking out. She started singing and rubbing her hands at me. Do not rub your hands at a pregnant lady that's giving birth. Seriously. So that's what I told her. Like, step away from me. I don't want you to sing. I don't want you to rub anything. I just want you to be here and hold my hand really, really strong. Let me hold thought of you. I'm not going to keep going into that, but I got to the hospital around 7, I want to say, 7 p.m. I broke my water at 4:30. I got to the hospital at 7 p.m. I've been in pain at this point since 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. My baby was born at 10:26 that very same day. 10:26 p.m. That's how fast everything went. That's how fast I dilated. By the time I got to the hospital after I had broken my water and my contractions were so close to each other, I had already dilated 6 centimeters. It took me about 2 hours to dilate from 6 centimeters to 8 or 10 centimeters that I needed to get my baby out. So the only thing, I'm going to skip over a lot of parts, but while we're waiting and we were in chest pain, I decided to ask this nurse, well, how long would I be with this pain? Because it's really painful, but if it's going to keep like this for the next hour or so, or 2 hours, I would not have the option of having medicine in. Because at this point, everybody sees me in so much pain, they keep pressuring me for having the epidural done. If my contractions were, I'm not going to give you an advice because I'm not a doctor, but I'm just going to tell you my story. My contractions were now 3 minutes apart. I was already 6 centimeters dilated, and I had already broken my water all on my own. So when I get to when I'm in there and I'm asking this nurse, well, what do you think? How long would it take me to get this baby out? She's like, probably like 18 more hours or 12 more hours because you're a new time mom. And I was like, it's going to be this much painful for 18 more hours. I cannot take it. I already feel like I'm going to go to sleep of how tired I am. And it's only been a few hours. She's like, well, this is all I'm going to tell you. You are at least going to be in this much pain or worse for like the next 18 hours. You don't do that. That was very bad of her. She should have just kept her mouth shut and say, I don't know how long it could take. It could take between 2 to 18 hours, and I could figure out my own decision. However, she told me, you at least are going to be in this much pain for 18 more hours. I felt like that was wrong of her because I had my son less than 2 hours later after I asked that question. So, of course, I'm in so much pain. She tells me I'm going to be in worse pain than this for 18 more hours. I said, well, get me the epidural. Well, I get the epidural. The anesthesiologist pitched me with the epidural about 3 times. I felt like hell. It felt like hell because my contractions were so close to each other, and he had to wait until one contraction came in. I couldn't move when I was having that contraction, and he was putting the needle in my back. However, because God is so miracles and so blessing with me, that epidural did not went through. So they tried 3 times with the epidural, and somehow my body did not accept the anesthesia. So 3 times the epidural and nothing happened. My body would not take it. Nothing was numb. It was like I had taken no medicine whatsoever. I felt every ounce of it. They were like saying, oh, I'm so sorry, the epidural is not working. We're going to go ahead and put some morphine on you. I was like, hell no. Don't put anything else on me. I'm super tired. I feel like I'm sleeping. Just make sure I'm waking up when this baby comes out. Of course, I couldn't sleep. And I felt very agitated because of the contraction. But I just kept telling them, I feel like I'm going to sleep. Keep me up so that I can push this baby out. About 5 minutes later, after being an hour trying to put the epidural on me, I feel the sensation of what felt like going to the bathroom to poop to do number 2. So I tell the nurse, I feel like I'm gonna poop. Take me to the bathroom. She's like, well, hold on. If you feel like that, then it means your baby's coming out. So she comes and she shakes me and she's like, well, this baby is already, ready to come out. She starts the process of pushing until the doctor gets in. By the time the doctor gets in, the head is like half the way through. I literally pushed 3 times and that baby was out and it felt so nice and so light again. And it was like the pain was over. I had my baby knee on my chest and I started breastfeeding him. They kept cleaning and taking the placenta out and asking me to push one more time for the placenta and things like that. I felt nothing whatsoever. I was more concerned with the love and taking care of my baby. And I kind of forgot that there were like 10 doctors cleaning down there and so much blood and so disgusting. It was just me and my family, and we were concerned with the baby. And when they took it out and they put it on that little crib that they put right in front of you to check the baby's vital and things like that, we just kind of looking over that, and we totally forgot about what they were doing to me down there because they do so much things down there that you have no idea. Um, so that's how fast it went. It was a great experience. It was a very painful experience. I felt like I couldn't do it, and those are the things that you're doing when you feel like you're transitioning into labor. Those are the things your body is going to do. You're going to be super tired. You're going to feel shaking. Don't worry for shaking. That's totally normal. Um, you're going to feel like you're going to say, your exact words are going to be, I cannot do this. I cannot get this baby out. Help me in any kind of way. Those kind of things. I feel like I'm going to give up. I need help. So on and so on. But trust me, if I was an inexperienced 18-year-old mother and I could do it, you can do it. And plus, with all the information that is out there, I had no information whatsoever. I was going to a public clinic. I didn't know what were the right questions to ask to get prepared for labor and delivery. So you have a lot more resources than I had back in 2012. I just want you to think about that. My other advice is if you are already 6 centimeters dilated, you're contracting every 3 to 5 minutes, and you have already broken your water, hang in there and don't get that epidural until like the next 2 more hours that you're in labor, because most likely that's when you're gonna have your baby. However, I know this is not the same experience that I had for every woman. I have heard many friends and family members that have had more painful labor and delivery stories than I had, and much longer, because by the time they start contracting before they break their water. And so that period of where they're having those contractions and you cannot get admitted to the hospital, it's really painful and it goes hours and hours and hours long. And sometimes you're like day and a half in labor, which is not really labor, but you are in pain. And so if you feel like you're tired and you really need it, then you may as well go ahead and get that epidural done. If you can avoid it, like I say, if you're already there, you broke your water, you're 6 centimeters dilated, and you're having contractions every 3 or 5 minutes, I would advise you to wait a little bit longer, like an hour or two, because most likely that's how much longer it's going to take. At least with my 2 kids, that was my experience. If, however, you're in other conditions or you feel more comfortable getting that epidural done, you may as well get it. I got an epidural with my daughter because I was induced. I'll tell you all about it on my next labor and delivery story for her. So I guess somehow my story helps you out get prepared for when you go into labor and delivery. And best of luck to you. Best of luck to your newborn baby. And thank you for watching.